Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to be making a storage system for our little paper pads that are, I think they're 4 3/4 by 6 1/2. I might be making that up. I hope you'll stay tuned. Well, I have a lot of these size of paper pads, and here's the thing that keeps happening. I have them in my 3-tiered metal cart that all of us have, or a lot of us have, and I just have them sitting up. You see how they're curling? I don't like that, so I decided I need to come up with a system, and I did. Well, I think I did. So let me tell you what I'm using. I love graphic 45 paper. I'm sure you know that. If you don't, it's not a surprise to many of you, but if you are surprised, let me give you the paper pad I'm using. I'm all about it. It is called Blossom, and I got the collector's pack, and I got it on Amazon. I have to say, if you're going to make any projects where you need a paper that will be perfect, that will work every time, that will never crack, will never be a problem, this is your paper. The thing I like about the collector pack is you get a bunch of embellishments and chipboard pieces, so you really get everything you need to make a project. And then on top of that, this is what I'll call the unicorn for me. I've been trying really hard to find a solid core, which means a completely all the same color all the way through paper that is also smooth in texture. I found this from American Crafts on Amazon, and I'll give you links for all this. You know I always give you links. I am not affiliated with anyone. I don't make any money, so if you can find things cheaper somewhere else, do it. I don't want you to pay more than you have to. Then I'm going to be using some cardboard. Those of you that prefer chipboard, that is the same thing, and I'm going to tell you the thickness of mine. It's a thicker cardboard. It is is that centimeters? I think it's centimeters. Millimeters? I'm sorry, I'm not good at that. Why does a ruler say mm and cm? Why doesn't it just say one of them so I know what measurement it is? I'm so stupid, and I feel stupid when I say that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm just feeling stupid right now. So let me tell you what I'm using. I have cut my cardboard down to, I have my notes right here, in case you wondered. I have 2 pieces that are 6 by 4 3/4 for the sides. Let me find them. There's one side and there's the other. 6 by 4 3/4 for the sides. I'm going to be using this pink cardstock to put on this piece on the outside. I'm also probably going to put it on the inside if I have enough of the pink, but right now it's going to be definitely pink on the outside. And I've cut this to 6 inches, and it looks like it's not wide enough. So, well, these are the things I have to contend with my cutting systems, you know. Anyway, so then you need 2 pieces front and back that are 6 3/4 by 4 3/4, and that's these 2. That's the front and the back, and I'm going to be using these papers for the front and the back, as well as for the top. And the top is 6 3/4 by 6. And I also have another piece that's going to be the flap that goes over the front, and that's going to be 2 by 6 3/4. So those are our measurements. Let me start with the bottom. Did I already tell you the bottom is 6 3/4 by 6? No, I didn't tell you that, did I? The bottom is 6 3/4 by 6. The top is 6 3/4 by 6. And then you have that 2 1/2 inch by 6 3/4 inch for the front. Okay, so this is a double-sided adhesive. I just got this, and I'm not sure if I love it, because unlike the other adhesive where you pull the backing off of the double-sided sheets, it's like a really nice full sheet. This one is doing this. I don't love that. I gotta be honest, it's gross. Not sure why, but anyway, let me do my scoring before I go any further with the piece for the bottom. I might be scoring other pieces, but I'm definitely going to be scoring the bottom piece of cardstock that I'm using. I'm using a piece of pink for on the bottom inside. Where did it go? Come on, Sandy. Here it is. It's a biggie. And this piece is, it's not square. It is 8 3/4 by 8. And you're going to score this on all 4 sides at 1 inch. You're doing this because this is going to be the thing that's going to make your box, it's going to be the flaps. If you remember my drawer system that I made, oh, by the way, this is a design that I came up with on my own, and if I screw it up, it's all me. I didn't learn it from anybody else. It's just my boo-boo. You know what I mean? This is going to be the bottom. We're going to cut out of it these corners. Just the corners, including the score marks. You're not going to cut those weird angles. You're just going to cut the score marks out. I want to tell you about these scissors too. These are made by Tonic. I saw Sam Calcott use them, and I found them on eBay. You can buy like 4 pair of them for 16 bucks on eBay. I'm just telling you, find a friend and share some, because these are awesome. I bought 2 pairs of them and I absolutely love them, because I'll just explain why. Because you know, these got this thing at the bottom where you're supposed to be able to hold your thumbs and, you know, like you get a better grip. It gives me better grip, and I really like that. Thought I'd share that with you, just in case you wondered. Okay, so we're going to get our bottom, and we're going to take the backing off of it. Not crazy about this backing paper, as I said, and it doesn't seem to be letting go. Like, sometimes when you pull it, you don't get all the sticky off, which is odd. I mean, I thought that was the point of it. Jeez. Still trying to get it off. All right, there's that piece. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to flip this piece over, and we're going to lay it right inside these scores. And you want to make sure you're even on all of your scores. Ooh, they didn't want to do that. But honestly, that sticky stuff didn't work enough to make that be a problem. If you're a little bit off, it's okay. Okay. These flaps that we scored, these are going to be the thing that holds our box together. If you'll recall, when I made my my pencil box, I used a flap system, and this is what I'm going to do again. So then let's, as far as the way we're going to decorate our box, it's all going to be, we're going to line everything, but I kind of just wanted to get the sides in, you know, the bottom in place with the flaps, and then get my other flaps going. What I've done is I've laid my box so you can kind of see where I'm going with it. I have cut 2, 4, 8 of these 4 3/4 inch by 1 inch strips. I scored them in half, so they're 1/2 inch wide. And then what I've done is I folded them, and I have one side of my cardboard covered with that sticky film, and I'm going to leave only half of it connected, and this is going to be, these are the hinges that are going to connect the box. So what I did then is all of my sides, and I'll show you that in just a second. All of my sides have this on them so that they can connect to each other, you know, all the way around. Like that. You see, can you see the pieces? So what I want to do is, before I put my paper on these, and I could put my paper on the inside, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to make more of these hinges. Geez, I forgot the word hinge again. I'm going to make hinges for in the inside here. So these ones are going to be, some of them are going to be 6 inches by, I'm going to only probably make them, I'll probably make them 1.5 inch so that there's some stability there. And then the other 2 will be 6 3/4 by 1.5. So let me cut those real quick. I've got my hinges cut. Now it's just a matter of scoring them. And these are, 2 of them are 6 inches by 1.5. So I'm going to cut their, score them in half at 3/4 of an inch. And those are the 2 for the sides, and then these are 6 3/4 inches long. So these are a little bit longer for the front, to go across the front and the back. And these will make sure that our box is super, super stable. This is the front. So I'm going to fold it. I'm going to put tear tape on half of it. I could use wet glue for this, but I really want to make sure this is nice and sturdy. So this is to go around across the bottom front. So you want your seam to be right up to get against the bottom. I'm going to turn this so I can see it better. So you want the fold to be even with the very bottom. This is why it's nice to use wet glue when you do something like this, because then you're sure it's going to be perfect. Okay, the one thing I do want to do with this though is I need to snip off just a little bit of this because it's a little bit too long. I want to just, the piece I just attached. You can just kind of angle these in just a little bit, you know, not a lot, just a little bit, just to make sure that they don't get in the way of anything. So let me add my other 3 hinges and I'll be right back. So I decided that I would make it so that the sides of my box would be pink, and the front and the top and the back would be the pattern with the flowers. So what I did was, this is just the same cardboard. I put 1 flap on the bottom, that would be my hinge to hold the bottom. Then I put 2 flaps on the outside of the cardboard that are the 4 3/4 inch by 1 inch, scored in the half so that they're on the outside. And then I took a piece of 6 by 6 inch cardstock, and I put the 6 inch side, I glued it all over here, and then I have this extra, and that is going to be so that my top of my cardboard is no longer exposed, because the top of my box is going to be open. When the lid is up, you'll be able to see all of this inside. So I wanted to make sure that my everything looked professionally finished, if you know what I'm saying. And I got to get my bone folder because this is kind of some kind of waffle in it. I put tear tape under there. It's weird, it doesn't seem like it's long enough, and it still should be okay. Okay, so now I have both sides done, and remember I put my flaps on the outside of the 2 side pieces. On the, okay, these are my 2 sides, so the flaps are on the outside. You see that? Outside. Then on the front and back, I put the flaps on the inside. That way I will have flaps on the outside of my box and on the inside to hold everything in place, if that made any sense at all. Then let's go to our base. Our base, well, I guess we'll do our sides, we'll put our sides and our base together. Our bottom is, as you know, 6 3/4 by 6. We took the 8 3/4 inch by 8 inch piece of cardstock and wrapped around the bottom of it, and then we scored it 1 inch all the way around, and now we'll be able to lay this piece in place. Now the reason that I have the flaps on this and on the sides is because the hinges that are on the bottom piece are going to wrap around the outside. Oh darn it, I shouldn't have put my paper on my sides because I have got to put these flaps up. Well, I'll have to do something to make that look pretty, right? These are the things that happen when you're not thinking properly. What I mean is, see, I already covered the outside of my box. Since I covered my outside and I pull this flap up, then you're going to see the flap. Not a big deal, right? Nobody cares about that. At least I don't. So I'm going to put glue on my side flap, on my hinge for my side. I'm going to put glue on my cardboard here because I'm going to lay my other piece there. So we're going to lay this is our side. You're going to lay that right up to the edge, and I'll show you this in just a second, but I need to be able to pull it toward me so I can really see it. And then I'm going to pull up my flap. As you'll recall, I should have put my pink paper on my sides after I did this step, but I did it in the wrong order. So now you're going to see that little hinge right there on the side. I'm going to do the same to the other side. You see the cardboard right there? Put glue on that too, because when you put this in place, you're going to want to make sure your cardboard really stays where you put it. It's lined up so it's right on the edge, and then you're going to pull that hinge up and put it in place. So now you've got a hinge on the inside and a hinge on the outside, and then once we do the sides, or the back and front, I mean, you'll have hinges on the front and back too. So let's do the back piece next. I'm going to turn this around so that I can see it. I guess this is all right. I could do this as the back. It doesn't have to be, you know, the other piece doesn't have to be. Okay. So this is going to be my back piece, my back piece. So I need to put, I'm going to take the backing off that paper. Put some glue there. Some glue here. You want to make sure you put glue on those hinges that you laid in place too, because if you don't put glue on every layer, you know, when you, well, I'll show you that too. Hold on. What I was trying to say is, when you put this in place, you're going to lay this down, and then I'm going to pull in my hinges, the little ones that are on this piece, because I need to, let me push down on the bottom of this one. Hopefully it's going to stay. And then I'm going to push my hinge up onto the back of that piece. Then I'm going to put glue on these little side hinges so that hopefully we'll be able to get them to stay attached. The whole piece will be able to stay attached. I'm going to put something up against this back piece, because right now it does not want to play with me. So now I'm going to pull my side up, push down on the bottom here. I'm going to wrap the back hinge around. I don't know if you can see me doing that. Hopefully you can. Then I'm going to wrap the front hinge around, making sure all these pieces stay glued where you have them. Then on this side, same thing. I'm going to try to get everything to hold. You can make these hinges bigger if you want. You know, they can be wider. They don't have to be 1/2 inch on each side. You could make them 1.5 inches so that you've got a lot of paper to play with. But I didn't think this box was going to be super big, so I didn't really want to end up with a big lot of I don't know. I didn't want to end up with a lot of extra paper. Is that what I said? I think that's what I meant to say if I didn't say it. Okay, so now I've got my 3 sides in. Last but not least is our front. And again, you're going to put glue all over all of your hinges. I keep calling them flaps, and I know that's probably got to be confusing people. Okay, this piece goes in the inside. So these little, I can glue the little side flaps. Hopefully you can see that. Can you see that? I put glue on the side, so then I can just pull these flaps in and put that down on top of them. So then I'll hold it for just a second so that can set up a little bit. Okay, so this is where my front goes on this side, and this is the bottom that goes in. So I need to put glue on the backs of these flaps on the bottom of the big flap on the bottom. and also on the cardboard on the bottom. I'm going to get some clips to hold this in place. Okay, so at this juncture, I think we've got everything covered except for we need to do a couple more of the little wraparounds for the top of the box so that it looks finished too. And those ones are 6 3/4 inches long. So we need two 6 3/4 inch by 1.5 inch, I think. So I lined the inside of my box. I needed 2 pieces of 4 by 5 1/4 inch paper for the short ends and 4 by 6 1/2, I think. Let me measure that again. I think it was 6 1/2, might have been 6 1/4. Just making sure it was 6 1/4. And then the bottom was 6 by 6 1/2. Nope, 6 by 6 1/4. I'll just make things up as I go. I'll put all these measurements below as I always do. Then I cut the papers for the front and back of my box. And they are 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. And I'm just going to put a little wet glue. I put tear tape on the back of them, but I also want to put a little bit of wet glue just in case I have to pick them back up. You know how sometimes I have issues. I'm just going to scratching it across the surface. So let me lay this piece in place. I wanted it to have just a little bit of a pink border. There's one, and the back piece. Maybe it's the front. I haven't decided which is the front and which is the back. It's nice to be able to decide that at this stage, because if you have one piece, one side that looks better than the other, you might as well go for it, right? And that wet glue gives us the time to be able to play with it a little bit and decide if I like it where it's at or if I need to move it a little bit. You know, just everything the way we want it. Then, that's upside down, of course it is. Good thing it didn't matter. Then, that's one side. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to, I had these extra little strips that are 1 inch by 6 3/4, and I thought I would lay them right along this, that border that I accidentally had because of the, because I had that, I had to put that hinge there. I figured we would make it so that it would look like I did it for a reason. The beauty of adding a little wet glue. And I'll just have a little bit of a border. I don't really like that with a border. I didn't think it would have a border, but it does. Oh well. No one's ever going to notice that. Then I'm going to do this side. Then we're off to doing our lid. I hope our lid is going to fit because I made the measurements of the lid before I put this whole thing together. And once I put it together, I realized that it's a little bit wider than I thought it was going to be. So let's see how I did. What I did with my lid, just so you know, I took my top piece that I had come up with a measurement that was just like the sides. So what I did was I measured my cardboard so that it would go over the opening, and it is 6 3/4 by 6. So it was going to go like this on the top. Then I made a 6 3/4 inch by 2 inch strip, and that piece is going to go over the front. It's going to be a flap, and I'm going to put a magnet there. Just thinking. And let me take off some of my backing. Then I want to get a scoring tool. I guess I could just use this. I just want to go around the edges of this. I'm not trying to cut it. I'm just trying to make an indentation so that when I wrap the paper around the cardboard, it will already be ready to wrap. You know what I'm saying? It'll be ready to wrap. And then I'm also going to be putting some wet glue on this section because I want to make sure it really adheres. And I want to put some wet glue here because I want to have the wet glue make it so that that edge stays adhered. Okay, before I go any further, now is when I need to put that magnet on. I thought about using a really big magnet, like a long and big, but the reason I was thinking of that is I was thinking that it would work better to have a really thick magnet because then it would be weighty enough to hold the piece down. I'm going to do 2 sets of magnets, 2 different places, because I want, as I said, I really want to make sure this thing stays in place. So I'm going to put one of my magnets right there. Nope, yeah, that's fine. And then one over there. Does that seem, no, that needs to move in a little bit more. That one about there. Okay, now I have to take the top magnet off. That's how it should face it. And that's how that one should face it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to wrap it. I am going to need to wrap these sides in, and I should have thought of that first. Let me see if I can remedy that problem. So what I did is I don't know if you can see this, but I cut the top. This is the top layer. I cut off the sides right there. Do you see that? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the paper, well, push the paper, not pull it. I'm going to push it so that it starts to fold around. And I should have given myself more. There's a little bit extra paper right there I need to cut out. I should have given myself more paper. So what I'm going to want to do, if I can, is I'm going to turn this paper in like that. And that's why the tear tape is so crucial, because this will work with, I'm going to fold it in on that too. And I'm going to take my bone folder and try to get it to lay on itself. Probably work better if I pulled it in this way. And then I'm going to also add paper to this, but at this juncture I just wanted to make sure I could get my paper folded around that. As I said, if I was you, I would probably make this wrap paper 12 inches by probably, I would say 7 3/4 to 8 inches, so that you have enough to wrap around the sides. Unlike what I did there, where I didn't have enough to wrap it around the sides. That is going to be 6 3/4. So let's cut a couple strips of 6 3/4, and then we'll just attach it all together. Since this is my storage box, it doesn't have to be perfect. I wanted it to be pretty, but I don't need it to be absolutely 100% perfect. It was more, I wanted to make a prototype that I could work with, you know what I mean? So let's lay this piece down. I don't think anybody's going to be looking at this very closely to go, oh my gosh, Sandy, how did you mess that up? And then I'm going to add a whole bunch more glue to this, because this is what I'm going to attach the whole thing to my box with. So I have, let's see, I have probably a couple of inches. Let me show you this. I'm going to fold it down. I want to make sure this is well adhered. And then I want to make sure this is well adhered. And then this is going to go like that. So this is my box. It's going to go like this. Somehow I think I did it wrong. No, I didn't. Who am I kidding? Every once in a while, what is that saying? A blind squirrel finds a nut? That's me. I'm the blind squirrel. Somehow I found a nut. Oh my gosh. I'm insane. You know I'm insane. That's why you watch my videos. So this is the front. So I'm going to lay this gently over it like that. I want to center it so that the lid kind of covers both sides. And then I'm going to gently rub this down. It looks pretty good. I'm going to put my magnets up against their buddies like that. And I'm going to get glue dots. I should have put these underneath the material too, underneath the paper, but I forgot. And again, this is a project for me, so these are things that you should remember to change when you're doing it for you. You know, if you're making yourself a storage box, you'll want to put your magnets on underneath the paper, if you can remember. I forgot. As always, I forgot. So I'm using great big glue dots. They are as big as my magnet is, and I think I said 10 millimeters, I think. Centimeters, millimeters, you know, I got all that screwed up. I apologize to my friends in Europe that I can never get that right. I'm a product of imperial measurements, and I probably will never ever get to the bottom of why I can't seem to get rulers to have the right measurement information on them. So I've got my magnets on my glue dots, and if you use your fingernail and you scratch on the back of your glue dot should let go. So like that. Hopefully you saw that. And then before I let it go completely, I'm going to put it on my project. Let go. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same with my other one. Then once they're on, you want to push them, make sure they're really well adhered. Then you take your box and voila. There it is, my storage for my 4.5 by 6.5 inch card mats. And I'll make sure that I show you how I organize this. I'll probably do some kind of color system, because that's the other thing. I don't use these because I don't seem to know where to look for them. You know what I mean, as far as color wise. So I might set up some kind of system where I do it in rainbow order. Anyway, that's my thinking. So I hope you enjoyed this and that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and please tell your friends about me on social media, because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.